President Trump's name is coming down from the Kennedy Center building. A judge has rejected the center's last-minute request to freeze a previous judge's ruling while the court proceedings play out. The court didn't elaborate on that decision, and they have until midnight tonight to restore the original name. Now, you'll remember back in December, a Trump-approved board of trustees voted to change the name in order to honor him. CNN Washington correspondent Sunlen Sarfati is on the scene. Sunlen, what is happening? Is there still a crowd out there waiting for this to happen?
Yeah, Abby, it's a rather extraordinary scene outside the Kennedy Center at 10 p.m. on a Friday evening. What this moment is really emblematic of the political divide, frankly, that exists in Washington right now. As you can see behind me, you have a crew of about 13 people. They are bar by bar constructing this large scaffolding, and they're going to build. There are hundreds of people here in D.C. who have come out to witness this moment. Now, with every foot that they build this scaffolding, we've heard chants of take it down, take it down. Clearly, many of the people out here coming today to witness in support of that name coming down. And there was a last-ditch effort on the part of the Kennedy Center today in the courts to try to get the name to remain on the building, but that was denied by a federal judge, reinforcing that President Trump's Kennedy Center needed to take the name off the wall. And there you see people cheering as the workers are climbing up the scaffolding, again, adding to it. So again, the federal judge making sure that the Kennedy Center would take down this name by midnight tonight. So now it really is a race against the clock. And notably, Abby, as you know, Washington, just a wild moment that this late on a Friday night, this many people are out here. This name on the side of this building has been symbolic for so much. President Trump's reach in Washington, his attempt at making a stamp and remake cultural institutions like the Kennedy Center. So we'll be here watching certainly a significant moment. Abby.
Wow, what a sign of the times, Sunlen. We'll be keeping an eye on that scene tonight as we see what happens to those letters. Just about 2 hours left before they have to comply with this ruling. But back here in New York, it is pretty extraordinary. I had to chuckle because I was reading the court filing by DOJ as they tried to convince the court to allow them to keep the name up. And they changed the bylaws of the Kennedy Center to basically say that any money that they received while that name was up there was contingent on Donald Trump's name being on the Kennedy Center, which is a living memorial to the former president. And the court filing says the reason for this clause is that people and companies who have given or will be giving millions of dollars to the center were only willing to do so with the name Trump on the building. Many did it because they loved the concept of two great presidents, one Republican, one Democrat, working together as one, in many ways, a bipartisan relationship, ! Not sure if Donald Trump has started working at the Justice Department. But yeah, I mean, it's almost comical if it didn't actually happen.
So I'm going to just be a lawyer for a second. The reason why this is a great moment in history, what's going on, that his name is coming down, is that the judiciary has no real power to make sure people do what they say. So right now, President Trump can say, no, nothing's coming down. And the judge has nothing. The judge doesn't have an army. The judge doesn't have any power to do anything. So this is our government actually working. When the judiciary uses the power of a pen, nothing more than the power of a pen saying, no, you can't do this, and everyone is following the judge's order, that's a great American moment that the government is working. The three branches of government are working the way they're supposed to.
I actually agree with him, but I also think that when you look at...
It's okay, you're allowed to. You said it like, holy cow, I actually agree with you. You're allowed to agree with
It's 10:06. I just got started.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't even get a complete sentence out. I love you.
It was the tone. It was the tone.
Yes, I agree with you. You're right 3 or 4% of the time. You're not going to agree with this part. What I was going to say is I believe this is just indicative of what the Trump presidency will be. You have an individual who has what most people would agree to have a heavy dose of psychopathy that is rooted in some sense of self that is not necessarily rooted in anything. So he wants his name on buildings. He wants his picture on dollar bills. He wants those type of things. And when Donald Trump is gone, I do believe that many of the things that he deems to be accomplishments, those superficial things, without changing the lives for the better of the American people, will come down and will be erased. And so this is going to be the first, although this is something that individuals can see, not just with their mind's eye, but they can literally see with their eyes, that name coming down. I think that there's going to be a lot of scrubbing from the history books of Donald Trump's name, the things that Donald Trump has done, and the things that won't be expunged are things like impeachment.
You know what? I think it's an important point that this for liberals is sort of like a celebratory moment. But I think it is emblematic of one of the big problems with this Trump second term. He is expending a huge amount of energy, self-aggrandizing in the office. He was elected to lower prices, make people's lives better. Instead, he's calling into meetings, according to CNN's reporting, that according to a source, it was like an episode of Veep. He's calling into meetings at the Kennedy Center to talk to them about this issue, to attack the judge's wife, who was a former attorney for Joe Biden at one point. Then the board says, oh, maybe they'll make a resolution to honor Trump that would recognize his major contributions. What is all of this about? I mean, is the entire government supposed to be working to make this one man feel good about himself?
Well, are we upset that the President of the United States took an interest in the Kennedy Center, took an interest in a building?
A lot of people are upset about that, yes.
But why? Why would they be upset about it? Now, I'll answer my own question, because they've never been able to stand the fact that Donald Trump won the White House the first time, and especially the second time.
I have an alternative explanation.
They don't want him to be able to exercise any power,
Congress
large or small.
established the Kennedy Center as a memorial for John F. Kennedy, and that it is illegal for him to slap his name on it. That is why people are upset
Look,
about it.
here's the deal. He took an interest in this.
What about the law, Scott?
Well, what about it? He took an interest in it.
What about
Who
it?
cares? Let me tell you what I see.
By the
Let me
law.
tell you what I see.
We're abiding by the law.
You can't get the government on the phone after 3 o'clock on a Friday, yet we can build scaffolding to scrape a name off the side of a building.
They build scaffolding to put
honestly,
a name on the side of the building.
This is what the
They
government
can't
can
build
do. And what is it that Democrats do for
down?
fun on a Friday night? These haters stand out on the street screeching about a name?
Wow, haters.
Unbelievable.
To your point about it is against the law, I want to give a shout out to Representative Joyce Beatty. I think that she actually tells the story that when she was she's a member of the board, and there was a meeting and she wasn't there, and she called in virtually, and this was not on the agenda to change the name or add Donald Trump's name to the Kennedy Center, and she tried to speak up against it. When she found out about it, she said she was shocked. They muted her. They wouldn't allow her to talk. She then actually filed the lawsuit to stop this. And on May 29th, we now find out that this when the judge said, you know what, you're right, take it down. And I just want to give her a shout out for one particular reason. When they tried to shut her down, she said it wasn't about me, it was about arts. And it's bigger than this, and it wasn't fair. And she was the only one that had enough cojones to say chutzpah.
Testicular fortitude.
Testicular fortitude. Thank you, friends. To say, you know what? It's not right, and someone should do something about it. She said Donald Trump was on the meeting when she was actually trying to object, and he was trying to intimidate her with looks, and she still went ahead. So shout out to her for saying something is wrong, let's do something about it, and it should do something for all of us Americans who feel like we're not happy with what's going on.
Us New Yorkers are not surprised that Donald Trump is putting his name on everything. I mean, it's just like, it's laughable for us. I mean, his name is everywhere. I've gone to a Trump grill, and Abby, I've never seen this before. I ordered a hamburger, and on the bun, God bless him.
Burger?
And on the bun, they they char it with his profile.
Lord.
Like, so I'm eating President
Not
Trump.
even the name,
But
the
you know
face.
what? I'm with Scott too. Like, you gotta have a very little going on in your life on a Friday night, and you're standing in front of the thing whistling. I mean, go watch Abby Phillip on CNN. Do something productive.
I mean, you can argue that that's the case, but these are also American citizens. Maybe they care about the law.
Yeah.
Maybe they care about. Maybe they care about. Maybe they care about what the judge said is the plain text of the law. The quote: the Kennedy Center's organic statute makes it crystal clear that the center is to be named for President Kennedy.
Following the law.
Congress gave the center its name. Only Congress.
Donald Trump has suffered another legal defeat, this time involving the Kennedy Center in Washington. a federal appeals court has rejected Trump's emergency request to stop a lower court ruling that ordered his name removed from parts of the Kennedy Center. The decision means the changes will remain in place while the legal battle continues. The controversy began after a federal judge ruled that the actions taken to remain portions of the Kennedy Center in Trump's honor violated the institutional legal purpose and congressional intent. The judge ordered those changes reversed and rejected Trump's request to delay the ruling. Trump's legal team argued that removing the name would cause harm and negatively impact fundraising efforts, but the court disagreed. You know why? That if Trump eventually wins appeals, the name could simply be restored later. What makes this ruling especially notable is that the three-judge appeals panel included a judge appointed by Trump. Even so, the court unanimously declined to grant the emergency stay, dealing another setback to Trump's legal strategy. Meanwhile, workers have already begun removing signs and references connected to the name change, showing that the court's order is actively being enforced. The appeal itself is still ongoing, and Trump is expected to continue fighting the decision. However, for now, the courts have made their position clear. They're not willing to pause the ruling while the case moves forward. As Trump faces legal challenges on multiple fronts, this latest decision adds another high-profile courtroom close to the growing list of battles surrounding the former president. Subscribe for more.